This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We're honored to continue and share the teachings of the founding father of science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat.
All right, let's go ahead and open up that waiting room and let the people in. Hello, folks. Welcome back to Daily with Doc and Becca. My name is Becca Dukes, and as a certified holistic health coach, certified naturopathic practitioner, director of student services for the Institute of Holistic Health, and the host and producer of this show, it is my honor and privilege to have you spend the next hour with us, as today is a really important episode, folks. We're going to be talking about the hidden dangers affecting nearly every household, yet rarely discussed. So, folks, if you were invited by somebody specific, you're going to make sure that you get back with them and tell them thank you, because I know for certain you're going to have an aha moment, and that aha moment may be what's keeping you from being able to achieve your health goals. So again, this program is being sponsored by dailywithdoc.com, where we have an email list. We'd love to have you go and visit the website, sign up for the email list so that you can start receiving our newsletter with important information to help you put more tools in your toolbox to create a healthier lifestyle. Because, folks, we have a lot of choices to make in this world. Why not make choices based on what's going to benefit ourselves and our families, rather than what society says is okay? Well, today's show is titled The Mimic. So, defeating the heavy metal health crisis. So if you didn't know, heavy metals are silent intruders, folks. From the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, to the products that we use each and every day, toxins like lead, mercury, cadmium. Doc always got me on that one. They're saturating our modern world. But what makes them so dangerous is not just their presence, it's the ability to mimic essential minerals. Did you get that? They mimic essential minerals, hijacking a very pathway that is designed to nourish and protect our bodies. Well, today we have back with us an amazing individual. She is an ecologist. She is a functional nutrition coach. She is a certified holistic health coach. She has taught education. So she's an amazing educator as well. And she is Joanna Kappele of Adore Your Home and many other websites. So if you're here live with us, folks, make sure that you look up that chat, because in the chat, Marilyn is going to be putting some amazing information as she does dictation and shares like she does so brilliantly. And it's only available if you're here live with us. So if you want to join us, we are here Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, except for holidays, from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, and 3 to 4 Eastern, by going to zoom.dailywithdoc.com WEcologistJoannaKappele.com. And if you would like to receive your special invitation, as we are going to be going to invitation only Zooms, make sure that you email us zoom@dailywithdoc.com. Is that right, AJ? Okay. I saw him thinking. So I just wanted to make sure that I had that right. Well, folks, Joanna brings us unique, powerful perspective to this topic, and understanding not only how toxins are hidden in our environments, but also how they hide within our bodies. So I am super excited as she has put some research into this topic, not just for this show, but for decades. Joanna Kappele, welcome to Daily with Doc. How are you, my friend?
Hello there, Becca. I'm great. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be back and to be with you all again.
Well, Joanna, I'm super excited because this is a two-part series, folks.
Yeah.
We have Joanna here with us today and tomorrow because this is such a big topic. One that there's so many different places that these toxins hide that are mimicking nutrition that we're supposed to be having. So, Joanna, can you go in? Let's talk about those heavy metals and how they are exploiting our bodies.
Sure. Yes, they are very insidious little pollutants in our world, and they are more present today than ever before due to industrial pollution and lots of things going on with modern living that basically they're in all of our households, and we're all exposed every day through the air, through our food, through our water. Some of us are exposed more than others. It depends on the condition of our personal environment and our home, and where we work. I mean, there's many factors that go into our exposure. But I'm so happy we're doing this show today because I really feel they aren't discussed enough, and the damage they're doing to our health is really extraordinary. And I think it kind of explains many things that are going on with escalating diseases and crises, and also what's holding people back from getting well. But luckily there's a very simple solution, and you all are very much associated with that solution. So I think that's the most exciting thing, because we can talk about all the problems, but there is a way to help people, and it's significant. And I'm excited that we can share that with people through this show as well.
So I want to kind of clarify one thing that you said. You guys are part of a solution. That includes you, my dear.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, now that I'm part of the Daily with Doc family and associated with Dr. Wallach, yes, I am happy to be part of this big family because it's I feel like we're ambassadors of health, and I just want to spread the message and help people get well. I know people through my life who have been affected by heavy metals, though that I may not have realized it at the time, but looking back, you can connect the dots and see how, and some people, they're already passed away, and there's not time to help them, but for others there is time. So that's the important thing, is we do what we can to help everyone.
Well, let's go ahead and just jump right in. You have put together some amazing notes, a great presentation that covers so much that if we don't get right to it, it's going to take 3 shows to get through.
Or maybe 3 years.
Well, yeah, it's something we need to not stop learning about. That's for sure.
All right. Right. So yeah, so thank you. So, Yes, I don't know where to start. The interesting thing about heavy metals is, like as you said in the introduction, they mimic minerals, which I just find so fascinating. So when we are, as much as we're exposed to them, if we have enough minerals in our system, it's much easier for our bodies to, not be affected by these heavy metals and for them not to get stored in our tissues where they cause so much damage. In particular, with our brain, brain health is severely affected and it depends where these are lodged in the brain. And it's not the whole answer for what causes diseases, but it is a huge factor. So anything we can do to reduce our exposure and to get these things and reducing exposure, let me just be clear. Reducing exposure today is very, very, very hard because they are everywhere. They're hitching onto microplastics and all sorts of other pollutants and then entering our body just through the air we breathe. And if you live in this, wherever you live in the city or in the country, there's all types of pollution. But these heavy metals attach to other debris and nanoparticles and anything you can think of, PM, the tiniest particles. And they get into our air, into our lungs. And it's really hard to reduce exposure. Of course, there are some things like filtering your water and definitely things you can do, but I don't think any of us can absolutely cut all exposure. So they will be entering our body, but the key is to get them to flush out of your body rather than to store in your body. Now they will flush out of your body much more easily if you have minerals. If you don't have minerals, these little particles, they sneak into the cells because they use the same pathway systems that minerals do. So they interfere with enzymes and all sorts of body functions once they get in the cell. And that's what we want to avoid. We want to not let them get into the cell and start accumulating because they do accumulate. This is mercury and arsenic and lead and cadmium and all sorts of uh, the all sorts of toxic substances that, if stored in our body, they will interfere with our health and they bioaccumulate. So the more we're exposed, the more they accumulate. It's long-term problems that come along. Now, heavy metals don't typically, unless it's severe exposure and you have immediate poisoning, they don't cause symptoms immediately. Generally, it's usually long term, and then they turn in as we get older. That's when the effects start showing up, and it's very serious. So they're implicated in all of the brain health issues, from MS to memory problems to ALS and even mental health issues. And it's very sad what's happened recently with Rob Reiner and his wife and I mean mental health issues with I was married to an addict years ago and he was in rehab many times, and I just want to touch on this for a second. Um, what they're getting in rehab isn't, it's medication and therapies which can be helpful, but they're not solving the problem. And I really believe a lot of these people, they have, a lot of these heavy metals in their brains, and that can cause psychoses and irrational thinking. They tend to suppress, normal response mechanisms. So, it's really sad. And I mean, there's more shooter incidences around the world today, all over the world. It started with Columbine, I believe, in 1999 or 1999 in Colorado. But now there's like school shooting. I mean, there's things going on, and it just makes sense that nutrition is down. Kids aren't getting the nutrition they need, and then they're being exposed, and there's just no correction going on. Pharmaceuticals and medicines aren't correcting the problem. So I just feel this really needs to be talked about, on so many different levels, because it's affecting us, affecting society, affecting the world. And, it's very devastating and tragic in many cases.
It is. And I'm glad that you brought that up. I was actually talking, it was yesterday. I was talking with my partner. We were talking about mental illness. And in the United States, you hear about more school and church shootings and shootings within a mall than you do in most any other country. So I know there's a lot of things that are in our food that aren't allowed in other places, but I also know that these heavy metal components have a big role in mental health.
Right.
And you were talking about having the minerals and getting more minerals into the body. And people don't understand that when you flood the body with the nutrition, it's pushing those bad things out, which is sometimes why people experience like a detoxification, a detox feeling, and
Yes.
feel kind of ick for a day or two.
Yes.
But can you go deeper into that?
Yes. Well, yes, the heavy metals, they call it biomimicry. So they mimic the minerals when they get into our cells in the absence of minerals. The body needs something, the cells need that component, and they're very similar in structure to the essential minerals. So the body will just latch onto them because it needs that to complete its processes. And it's an inadvertent accumulation of minerals when it's really trying to uptake. I'm sorry, it's it's uptaking the heavy metals instead of uptaking the nutrients. So it leads to like all this reverse like health disorders basically, because the body is being tricked into utilizing the heavy metals when really it's seeking the minerals, but the minerals aren't in the body. So, in the absence of minerals, which our body needs and which God created as this beautiful mechanism for us to stay well and in complete health harmony, when we don't have them in our food and we're not supplementing, we are totally exposed to the heavy metals, and whatever we're exposed to, our bodies will absorb because the minerals aren't there to defend us. So it's so crucial that everyone be taking minerals. It's just fascinating how they mimic the minerals. It's very tricky. And
So,
it leads me into all sorts of other thoughts about the potential of different I don't want to say any companies are intentionally putting them out there, but it's certainly keeping people ill certainly feeds some industries profits. So, and we really have to be our own health advocates and share this information with as many people as possible, because really from when kids are babies, like through our adulthood, we have to be supplementing with the minerals. It's really essential because they're not in our
well,
food, as you all know.
yeah, and you had mentioned exposure. I'd like to kind of really dig into that, because you can have exposure from inhaling something. You can have exposure from ingesting, like eating it intentionally, or drinking it.
Or drinking.
You can have, or you can have exposure because of absorbing it, like through what we touch, through our skin.
Yep. Yeah, the top three. Yes. Absorption, ingestion, and inhalation. Yes. And
So
yeah,
how are heavy metals in the air that we inhale?
well, they're in smoke. They're in uh, vehicle exhaust. They're in, there's a huge thing going on right now where they're investigating brake pads. Just hitting your brakes will release these invisible toxins So, I mean, there's so many different levels of exposure that we don't see and we may not even smell, but, and, they, from cleaning products, from paint, from, construction materials, first responders, firemen, I mean, there's so many different avenues for these heavy metals to enter our environment. They can be added, old furniture, lead paint, of course, in older homes. Um, the lead pipes in our water systems are a
Mhm.
huge problem. Chicago, where I live, we have more lead pipes than any other city in America still, and who knows when they're going to be removed. So it's essential that we filter our water. We got to do what we can to reduce our exposure whenever we can. But on the other hand, we also need to be supplying our bodies with the minerals to protect itself. But yeah, smoke from wildfires is a huge source. Um, any type of fire, and even smoking, of course, smoking cigarettes. People who smoke pot are very much exposed because pot takes up heavy metals from the soil, so it's a big absorber. Also, even illegal drugs, because cocaine and like meth, they're processed with a type of potassium that results in manganese pollution. So that goes straight to your brain, which, I mean, there's just so many ways through the air that we absorb them. But through food, from the pesticides and the fertilizers and the biosolids. Biosolids are sewage sludge fertilizer that's heavily contaminated with heavy metals. Um, and that's used on farmland all over America, and other countries are using it as well. It's not allowed on organic and biodynamic farms, though. So that's one way to lessen exposure through food. But
And
like
just
old
because we can't,
orchards, I'm sorry,
I'm
old
sorry.
orchards used to use a type of arsenic as fertilizer. So that can still be present in the soil. So when you're drinking wine or apple juice or anything like that, there can be traces of arsenic. But again, having the minerals, you can protect your body from absorbing those. So
So
that's
like
good
if
news.
our body, if we continually give our body minerals, it's like a sponge that's full. And
Yeah,
if the sponge is full, it's not going to be absorbing these other things that we don't want
exactly,
in ourselves.
exactly. Well, those protein sites and those uptake sites. Now, see if pharmacist Ben or Dr. Wallach was here, they could explain this better from the medical perspective. But yeah, those uptake sites are filled with minerals, so there's no room for the heavy metal to attach. So
Mhm.
that's the wonderful thing about minerals. They really do protect us.
Well, and you had mentioned, these invisible things. Well, they're nanoparticles. We may not be able to see them with our eye, but
Right.
they are there everywhere.
And titanium dioxide nanoparticles are added now to, and put in food, but they're added to a lot of skin products and added to food. Yeah, there's yeah. And nanoparticles aren't regulated. There's no regulation yet for them. So they're in a lot of products and they're not disclosed necessarily.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I know when we're surrounded by heavy metals, there's certain supplements that can be used as chelating agents. Vitamin C is one of them. And in the longevity product line, the nutrients that are in the ultimate selenium are also chelating, which
yeah.
that's part of what we should be doing on a daily basis, is
Yes.
making sure that we're putting into our body what's needed
Yeah.
to protect from the others, right?
I think so. I think so. And like activated carbon is good, and chlorella, and yeah, I like spirulina too. I don't think it's as effective as chlorella, but I do like it. But yeah, cilantro. Everyone should be eating guacamole every day. It's very good.
Really,
Healthy fats and
I have
cilantro. Pull the heavy metals, clear them out, wash, just keep washing them out. Yes, but
Yeah.
we do need to clean up our environment. So this is also a call to get people, unified so we can, get rid of this industrial pollution because there is, from the coal plants, from, the petrochemical facilities, the smokestacks, oil refineries. I mean, those are, those keep adding more and more heavy metals to our air as well and our water. And, there's a whole host of industries that are in that camp, with pesticides and fertilizer mining, phosphate fertilizer mining in particular in Florida is a huge problem. Um, the radioactive substances and heavy metals and they're using that in our water supply as the source of fluoride, but hopefully that will end soon.
I hope so. I hope so. So for those that don't understand what chelating means, it's like the nutrient is a magnet that then attracts those heavy metals, and then you don't want to aggressively take them out. You want to gently take them out. So it's very important, the process that's done for chelating. And I think supplementing is one of the safest.
I think so too. Yeah, vitamin C and MSM sulfur, a lot, I love. Vitamin E is very helpful. I mean,
A
need
lot.
the full spectrum nutrients. It's not just minerals alone. And think because the minerals need all the cofactors and enzymes and amino acids to work with them. So, but minerals alone
Yes.
will do a magnificent job. But I mean, for great health, you need the whole package, really, of
The
nutrients.
full 90.
The full 90.
The
Yeah.
full 90.
Dr. Wallach was
Yes.
way ahead of his time.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, I know you've got so many things written in your notes here that you want to talk about. And you talked about, where we're getting these toxins, the industry. And even before the industry had any type of regulations on filtering the air that's being emitted out into the land or water that's being dumped. But let's talk about some of those problems that people may not understand are associated to heavy metal toxicity.
Yes. Yes. Well, there's so many. Yeah, I remember years ago, I read a story. I read about this place in Australia and this goes back to the mental health issue, but there's a town in Tasmania that had a very high uh, murder rate, and it was like completely unprecedented. And what they found out was there was an aluminum smelter there releasing manganese into the air. So that's what they realized was that was causing people to get violent and angry and it increases hostility. Yeah, so whenever I ever since as a studying environmental health and disease and the correlation, always think like, where else are people being exposed? And MMT is it's a manganese fuel additive that I believe is still being used in parts of our country too. And they were trying to stop it, but I think it's still being used in gasoline to an extent. When you have to ask why, I mean, that can't be helping people or society if it's causing more violence and crime. And what they've realized is, they say, oh, it's up, a lot of these, with environmental justice, it's because of poverty, but it's the exposure to the toxic pollutants that, can really put people over the edge. It's not just, lack of money or not having a job, but it's the exposure to toxins that is really such a crime.
Now, you mentioned manganese, and manganese is one of the 90 essential nutrients, but it's a trace nutrient.
Exactly. Well, a lot of these, you need them in very trace minute amounts to function. But when you're overexposed, you know, it's a balancing act. When you're overexposed, or when it's in the air you're breathing, it's toxic and it goes into your brain. That doesn't, you know, that's not where it belongs.
So let's talk about the brain. I mean, because some of the side effects, you mentioned the mental illness, but it could be simple headaches, skin issues,
Exactly.
digestive issues,
Oh yeah,
memory.
metabolism. Well, it also affects weight too, because it affects metabolism and fat storage. It can cause greater fat storage. I mean, these heavy metals um, can play a role in all, you know, health issues from head to toe. It's not just the brain, but it's the lungs. They can get stored in the lungs. It's cardiovascular, and children, especially developmental delays, autism. You know, there's many ways they can affect us, and children, I feel, really need to be protected. Um, and I feel like there, you know, there needs to be a shift where, because I used to be a teacher, and
Mhm.
I I had some autistic students, and you know, God love them, they're doing their best, and that, you know, they're given medication, and you know, same with students with ADHD and everything. But you know, without the right treatment, they're not going to get well, and the treatment is just get get everybody on minerals. Everybody needs the minerals. Could
It's, it's a smart decision no matter where you're at, no matter who
Yeah,
you are, because it's not in our food.
right, right.
So, and I love
Yeah,
the fact
very
that
essential.
we found a source that we can trust, that has the certifications of being pure. What's on the label is actually what's in the canister or the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And the amounts that are put in there are not just thrown in, oh, let's do a little bit of this or a little bit of that. No, it's actually science-based as to the amounts that are needed for that the body needs, and then also those cofactors that those nutrients need to be able to do what they're designed to do in the body. Dr. Wallach did all that research and just blows me away. So folks, if you have never heard of Dr. Wallach, you want to figure out, why the body does what it does, or
Yeah.
what the body needs to be able to function better, you definitely want to look him up. Dr. Joel D. Wallach has a Bachelor of Science. He worked his way through college in the pathology lab. He is a doctor of veterinary medicine. He was on expeditions to save the white rhino in South Africa. He found the first non-human case of cystic fibrosis in a racing monkey. Even proved what caused it, that is not genetic, and how it could be changed. And they didn't want to hear that. So he started teaching nutrition at a naturopathic college and became a naturopath. So, and he's written 27 books, which I'm honored to be part of 3 of those books, as there's just so much information. And as time has gone on, you've got doctors now proving or repeating what he has been saying for decades, claiming it as his own. Now, he himself found that, there was, they were looking for pollutants in those autopsies. And they were finding, in addition to pollutants, there was a lot of nutritional deficiencies that were wreaking havoc on the body. So one thing that he has really dug into is the link between nutrition, neurological issues, But when he does his hair analysis, he's really looking for those toxic metals, which you've mentioned many of them.
Right.
So you've got a whole list of neurological disorders.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go through that list, because I think it's more than just, memory loss or MS or Alzheimer's or autism. It goes deeper into just little symptoms that people may be experiencing that are a red light for a bigger issue.
All right. Definitely. Yes. Symptoms can be headaches and brain fog, difficulty sleeping. A lot of these things can be from something else too. So, you
Mhm.
do need like testing to know if it is, to have a definitive diagnosis. But yeah, there's so many symptoms that affect people. Um, and it's not just the head, but yeah, the bone and joint, lead stores in the bones instead of calcium. If you don't have, oh, I think I have, oh, sent, I sent a visual aid or two, to your email. I don't know if you
Oh, did you
received
send
those.
them?
I did.
Okay,
I don't know
well,
if you
you
can pull
talk
those
and I'll
up.
find them.
But yeah, if you don't have enough calcium, lead will take the place of the minerals and store in your bones and joints. Not very good. Yeah, and these heavy metals, they cross the blood-brain barrier. Arsenic contribute. I mean, these contribute. These aren't just causing brain problems. Well, they'll cause cancer too. And brain tumors. Um, and infertility, reproductive problems, and birth defects. I know of women who, once they've reduced their heavy metal exposure and taken minerals, and some herbs, they've been able to get pregnant when they weren't able to earlier. And another interesting thing, I think, with MS is that the heavy metals will interfere with the normal functioning of the liver and cause dysregulation of cholesterol production. So you can either end up with too much cholesterol or not enough cholesterol, or there's the liver loses control, which Dr. Wallach or pharmacist Ben would have to chime in on how that affects the myelin sheath. But yeah, just the heavy metals they play a significant role in so many diseases. Yeah, there you go. There's one that shows like cadmium, where they target, lead is PB, that's bones, liver, kidneys. I mean, all the different ways they affect us.
AJ, do you have the other one filled up too? That's the one I was going to pull up first.
Mercury is Hg, that's, brain, lungs, kidney. Well, it doesn't have manganese on there. Sorry, there's one on mercury.
So like you mentioned, the reproductive system, the kidneys, babies as they're
Kidneys.
developing within their mama's wombs,
Yeah,
the
kidneys.
cells themselves, which are everywhere,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
those
digestive system.
lungs.
I mean, I just think when people are trying to get well, they can't overlook like the role that heavy metals may be playing in any ailments they may have, and I think it's a huge significant part.
And this graphic right here that we're looking at is primarily mercury.
Right.
So it's just, one heavy metal affects so many different
Yeah,
parts of the
that's just
body,
it.
which just goes to prove everything's connected.
Right, right. Yeah, mercury and arsenic apparently are more likely to store in the kidney than other organs. Manganese will store in the brain. Yeah, they all have, and I'm learning more about this every day myself, but yes, the bone weakness is lead replacing calcium. And we didn't talk about the oxidative stress, how these heavy metals, I mean, they increase free radicals, so it makes it even more imperative to eat foods high in antioxidants, which is a very good approach to healing, along with the chelating foods and whatnot.
Do you have any favorite foods that are high in antioxidants?
Well, I love blueberries and berries and raw cocoa and dark chocolate. Raw cocoa. I make a raw cocoa tea, which is really good. I'll have to send you some. But that's raw cocoa has more antioxidants, they say, than even blueberries, which and berries, which is pretty great. As long as you don't add a lot of sugar and
Right.
to neutralize
Well,
it.
I love cocoa. I love berries. And if you put them
Yeah.
together, I mean, that's perfect food, right?
Yes. But there's lots. And the essential omega oils, of course, are very important too, to
The
help.
essential fatty acids.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, AJ has had his hand up for a minute, times 20. AJ, go ahead and unmute. Do you have a question?
I do have a couple questions. First question is, what's the reason that corporations give for adding all of these things? We can imagine some nefarious reasons, but what is the actual reason? Like, for example, you mentioned that MMT, I think it is, additive for fuel. It says something like it increases the octane in the fuel. But
Right.
you mentioned a litany of different additives in food products. Uh, is there a reason that they give that they utilize some of these nanoparticles and some of these other additives that are harmful?
I have not found, I mean, there's no like health reason they add these things. Usually when things like this, they say, oh, it's to reduce production costs or something like that. Um, I think, I did, uh, I think there must be a reason why they do. Sometimes it's just a result of the processing, though it's not purposely a cofactor of the formula. They just kind of, except in some pesticides, it is intentionally part of the formula for some reason because they act as surfactants and increase the absorption into the plants.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's why another reason why I just am so opposed to pesticide use and really support organic farming so much, because just there's nothing good about pesticides in our food because they get into our body and whatever else is attached to them. And the pesticide formulas aren't revealed, and especially glyphosate is notorious for containing heavy metals. And that's Roundup and other glyphosate-based pesticides. Um, yeah, I think it's just profit, AJ. I don't think there's a real legitimate reason that they need to be using them. But for many of the companies where they're produced in air pollution and whatnot, it is just a byproduct, I believe, of the manufacturing. It's not intentional. But that's why we need to clean up manufacturing processes
Okay, so two more
and
questions.
have pollution control.
There's actually three more questions. So if you live in a place that's got a manufacturing plant and they've got a smokestack and it's like spewing stuff out, so these are the folks who need to
Cancer
be
Alley.
okay. So they need to be very conscious of what's going on. I haven't seen as many smokestacks recently as I used to, but I can remember, being in places where smoke billowing all day long.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole bunch down in Houston with the refineries and the petrochemical facilities, and also in Louisiana and along the Gulf of Mexico. That's probably the worst stretch of them. And they're in Louisiana, it's called Cancer Alley because the health rates, the disease rates are just off the charts. There's more cancer there. It's just, not normal at all how many people are stricken with cancer. And it's directly related to the pollution that they're ingesting, inhaling, and absorbing on a daily basis. So, yeah, all those people should be on extra doses of minerals to help heal themselves.
Okay, folks, so you heard her. If you live anywhere and you see a smokestack, you need to be on 90 and extra pills with it. So Olga asked, and this is related to my question, so you get a 2-for-1. Olga asked, can we have the recipe for the raw cocoa tea, please? And my question to that is, do you have any prepackaged formulas that people can use to detox? I know that you're a herbalist, or I don't know if herbalist is the word, but I know that you're a master maker of stuff. So I'm wondering if you have anything, and how can people find it?
I do have some things. Yes. Well, hippieteas.com is the herbal website. It was hippocrates.com, but people are having such a hard time spelling it that you can find it more easily with hippie, hippieteas.com. Yeah, I would be happy to send anyone who wants some. We have detox tea and also the cocoa tea and some other blends. I make green tea is really good as well. I make some really great organic green tea herbal blends. And I even have a green tea cocoa, and I like to use roses and rose hips and rose petals a lot as well, which I think are very high in antioxidants. So now, not all those will be found on the website because have a backlog of getting products up there. But if anyone sends me a text or chat on the website, I can get back to you with those packages.
Well, and I have been blessed to be able to try many of your teas. There's the memory mint, there's a detox, there's a couple of them have black pepper that I haven't had a chance to try.
Oh, the
Well,
gold
I won't
tea
try because I'm allergic to it, but
oh, I'm sorry.
it's
That's a
I
turmeric. Yeah.
know. As an herbalist myself, it's like there's so many great things that black pepper
Yeah.
can do to help support the body, but I mean, if it makes things close up so you can't breathe, you can't do it, right?
That is not good. Right. Yeah, avoid that one.
So we were talking smokestacks. What
Yeah.
about the stacks that are emitting steam? Are there still pollutants in just the steam?
There could be. It depends what they're producing at the facility.
How
And
about an electric plant? Because as I was driving to New York
right.
yesterday,
Yeah,
there are a lot.
heat coils emit heavy metals. They do. So, yeah, heater, like all sorts of there's a good chance there's heavy metals. Anything in the energy sector is suspect, I would say.
So energy being electricity, manufacturing of any type of petroleum, whether it's gasoline, regular gasoline, diesel,
Well,
any
and
of
the
them.
plastic and the products from the petrochemical facility. I mean, they make a lot of chemicals out of fossil fuels, and the liquefied natural gas turns into plastic pellets and yeah, all of those, all the steel facilities. There's lots of heavy metals coming out of all of those types of facilities.
Well,
Yeah.
and as we're going through that, I mean, there's even heavy metals in wood products.
Yeah, wood preservatives have heavy metals. Yeah, I mean, they're all around us, I tell you. And, it's hard to avoid exposure because if you go outside and, when the wildfire smokes are going on, I mean, that was affecting people. It's hard to avoid the smoke when you're, um, and it carries, and these things they latch on to other particles. And there was just a study that came out, I think yesterday, and they were saying in India, they did a study in Delhi, I believe, and they found that the heavy metals are latching on, and other things, um, bacteria and fungal spores and heavy metals are all latching onto these microplastics, and they're so small that they're thinking people are breathing in like 190 on average a day of these
Like parts
microplastic,
per million.
yeah, particles. So they're
Okay.
getting into, you just breathe them in through the air, and they're so microscopic you don't see anything, but they can accumulate in your system. But if you have the minerals, you have the protection, so they can be expelled out of your body, out of your system, discharged more rapidly, and you know come in and go out as quickly as they come, and not cause any disease burden. So that's the good news, is that we have the minerals and the capability, and the minerals are so magical that they can protect us from this, the doom that heavy metals can inflict on us in all these different ways.
Wow. Well, we're coming up to the end of today's segment, and folks, just kind of a recap. I mean, you've got lead, which can affect the bones, the liver, the kidneys, the brain, the lungs, the spleen, your immune system, your cardiovascular system, your reproductive system. You've got a cadmium that affects the bones, the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, the testes, the brain, the immune system, the cardiovascular system. Arsenic,
Yeah.
skin, lungs, brain, kidneys, liver, metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular system, the immunological or immune system, and even the endocrine system. Thank you, AJ, for putting that up. And we haven't even gotten to what copper can do. And this is, like I mentioned before, our bodies need trace minute, amounts of these things. But when you get to the toxicity level, and it's getting into the cells themselves, mimicking the actual nutrients that we need, it can cause issues within the body. And as Joanna has mentioned many times, we need minerals. We need to flood our body with what the body actually needs and can absorb and use, so there's not enough room for the toxins to come in and build up. Am I pretty close to being correct there?
That's absolutely right. Yeah, the minerals are the key to health preservation. Otherwise, we are sitting ducks for all sorts of health problems that these heavy metals will inflict upon us.
So minerals are the currency to life.
They are. They are. And yeah, it's beautiful how they're produced naturally and part of the whole Earth ecosystem. And yes, and Dr. Wallach's formulas are just absolutely the best that are available, and not very expensive. So, I mean, you can get the plant-derived minerals for, what is it, $23?
Less than $30 a bottle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Less than $30 a bottle.
Yeah. I mean,
So
that's pretty good health insurance, if you ask me.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. Folks, well, we've covered some things that may be sparking your interest in wanting to get some minerals. And not all minerals are created the same. And not all of them have the 60 essential minerals that the body needs. But the plant-derived minerals that we have mentioned, that Dr. Wallach and his team, they actually bought they bought the mineral mine, and it is protected to keep the pollutants out and offered by Longevity. So you want to make sure that you get back with a person that shared this program with you and say, hey, I want some of those plant-derived minerals. They're also found in the Tangy Tangerine and many of the other products because they are essential for the body to be able to go from just barely surviving to thriving. So they're in many of the different products that are offered by Longevity that we have found to be solution to nutritional deficiency diseases. So, Joanna, do you have any closing comments that you want to add to today's segment? Oh, wait, AJ's got his hand up again.
Sorry, I was just wanting to make the distinction, like you were alluding to, plant-derived minerals, but it's also colloidal minerals, right? So they're in a form, which is interesting because tomorrow maybe I'll pick your brain again, Joanna. Interesting because you mentioned that glyphosate and some other things. You said something about minerals sprayed on the plant and some forms of minerals sprayed on the plant so that it was easier to be absorbed by the plant.
No.
But interestingly, that's the only way that we can absorb. We can't absorb ground up rock. The only minerals we can absorb are plant-derived minerals in its colloidal form. And then when I say only that we can absorb, meaning only that we can absorb a significant amount. I'm sure that if you ground up some calcium from a rock and I ate it, I'm sure I'd absorb 10, 15%, but we're talking about a significant amount of the nutrients that we need. Just wanted to make sure that was a clear distinction about the plant-derived minerals. And it just got me thinking of what you had mentioned earlier about what they spray on the plants to make their formulas more efficacious to the plant.
Yeah, they don't spray minerals on the they don't put the minerals in their formula. They put the heavy metals in their formula to act as surfactants, which makes their formula more absorbent in the plant and the soil.
So then maybe I need a distinction between heavy metal and mineral.
Yeah. The pesticide companies are not using minerals. I can guarantee you that. I wish they were. That would be a lot healthier for us all.
Well, and one thing we need to think about is, they're all elements, but those elements can take different form and different delivery systems. Where our minerals, plant derived, they've been taken up through the root system into the plant, which then is assimilated into a form that we as humans are able to readily absorb and utilize.
Well,
Like
and they're
AJ
from
mentioned,
ancient,
the
and they're
rock.
from ancient plants, right, Becca? I mean, so it was
It is
before
prehistoric.
before modern pollution corrupted
Yep.
the earth. So
The whole ecosystem.
the whole source of the longevity minerals, is just beautiful. How mine in Utah, I believe, right?
Yep, it's a mine in Utah, prehistoric deposit of plant minerals, and you look at it and you have, the top layer of the soil, and then you've got veins, like Dr. Wallach says, veins like gold and silver. Well, this is veins of plant-derived minerals that are several feet deep and just continue. So I am so thankful that there are several hundred years of minerals left in those veins that we're able to then utilize within our own diets and lifestyles now, because it's not just what you put in your mouth, it's what you put on your skin too. I mean, I love spraying those plant-derived minerals on my face, in my hair. You know, ladies, if you like that whole, sea salt look, wind-blown sea look, just spray some plant-derived minerals in your hair and let it dry.
I'm gonna start doing that. I gotta have some rapid growth.
Yes, yes. Well, if we could get the co-hosts up on the screen with us, I am so thankful I don't have to do this show all by myself, that I do have the technical support like Sherry, who is here with us. She is part of the tech crew, getting everything set up before the show so that we can stream and be on all the different platforms instantaneous. AJ is part of that team as well and helping get us set up on all the different platforms. Thank you, Sherry, AJ. We have Marilyn, who is doing amazing dictation in the chat here live in the Zoom and only available here in the Zoom. And we have Albert joining us from South Africa, letting people in and keeping an eye on the room, on the chat, to make sure that what is being shared remains to be a family appropriate show, folks. Get back with the person that shared this program with you and ask them, how do I get started in getting the right minerals going into my body so that I can start getting rid of the heavy metals? Your holistic health coach probably has some answers for you. And if you found this program all on your own and you don't have somebody that you've heard about us through, and you're not working with somebody, we do have a call team that is available of certified holistic health coaches. Sorry, I got to get my words all enunciated correctly by going to 855-949-3377. Joanna, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to getting to the next half of your notes tomorrow, as we will be back on Daily with Doc and Becca tomorrow, 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, 3 to 4 Eastern, and use your favorite search engine to find out what time it is in your time zone. And if you're watching us out on Rumble or YouTube or Facebook or X or Instagram or LinkedIn, where else are we? Spotify, Amazon Music, we're on Roku TV. I mean, we're just kind of like everywhere. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel, like it. If there's a way to comment. Let us know where you're joining us from. We want to get a great idea of where we are reaching. And if you would like some special information in regards to how to detox, make sure that you put in the comments detox, DETOX, and we will get some information to you. So thank you everybody for joining us here on Daily with Doc. We'll see you tomorrow with more information on heavy metals. Thank you so much, Joanna. You're awesome.
Thank you, Becca. Thank you, everyone. Happy to be here.
Thank you. We're happy to have you. Until next time. Bye for now.
This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We're honored to continue and share the teachings of the founding father of science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. Statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. As an empowered individual, you do have options available.